good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. First of all, welcome to Romina and Sylvia.
Hello.
Lovely second webinar for our fourth edition with Macmillan. LanguageCert and Macmillan have been working together for the last 4 or 5 years in collaboration. So let me allow the people just to connect, to get in. And if you feel like just adding a little something in the chat to make it feel a bit more dynamic and engaging, please do. Just mention where you are. I'm based in Ancona. I am Giuseppe Romagnoli. I'm the country manager, business development manager for LanguageCert here in Italy. Okay, so we got India. Good. That's good. I will not speak Italian. Don't worry. We'll just speak English. That's it. So basically, this is the second webinar that we've organized. The first one was last Wednesday with Romina's colleague Erica Favero, and it was focusing on preparing for Language Academic, which is the new exam growing fast in Italy. And Andrew, hi, it's good to see you. And there's Alfredo. That's good. Spain, Italy, and so far we have India. 3 countries. That's very good. I know that a lot of people registered for this event, so I hope many of you will manage to participate. But for those who have registered, don't worry, and will not be able to participate. They will be getting the recording. So also those who are participating, obviously. Altamura, south of Italy, Pakistan. Okay, looks really, really good. How about if you telling us where you based? Romina, where are you
Like to
based?
start. Okay, I'm going to start.
No, I'll introduce in a second. Just tell me where you're based at the moment.
Okay, I am based close to Monza, so near Milan,
Near Milan.
north of Italy.
Very good, very good. I'm in Ancona. And Sylvia, whereabouts you? Which part of the world?
I'm based in Athens.
Kalimera, Kalispera. And that's it for me for the moment, as you know. Okay, so what's the aim of this webinar? The aim of this webinar, under the big umbrella of empowering your students for success. That's why we're all here. That's what we're doing. And that's also what we're doing in LanguageCert. So that's the main aim. So preparing for ESOL for Schools. Our ESOL for Schools is an excellent solution for those students. And it's focused, and Sybil will be giving insight using the Macmillan Get Involved. And again, we'll have information coming in. So a little bit of housekeeping, quick information. You've got a Q&A bottom that you can fill in your questions in there. I will try to keep an eye on the chat also, because some people do put their questions in there, but when it gets to the end of the session, you will facilitate my life if you do put it in the Q&A session box. As I said, at the end of the webinar, there will be a survey, a quick pop-up. So when you finish, please allow yourself just a few minutes, literally 2 minutes, to fill that in. It's very important for us. And for those who participate in this webinar, we will be sending you via email your certificate of attendance. Just allow us a couple of days. And you'll also be getting the PDF of the mapping that Sylvia will be talking about in details, and the recording, as I mentioned before. So now allow me to introduce our first speaker, Romina from Monza, near Milan. Romina Pifferi is account manager for Italy for Macmillan Education. Her areas of expertise includes books and digital materials, presentations to state and private language schools, as well as event participation. For example, this one, both online and face-to-face. I've seen you around, Romina. Today, you'll be presenting Get Involved and functionalities. Over to you, and thank you. And then I'll introduce you, Sylvia.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Giuseppe, Sylvia, and everyone in LanguageCert, because it's always a pleasure working together. And today is one of the events that we always plan. And I'm really happy to be sharing our new titles and a new project that we had with LanguageCert. And so I'm going to talk about the book in a minute. I hope that everyone is doing well. I could see from the chat that there are lots of people from all over the world, so I'm really happy. And now I'm going to share my screen. So gonna be 10 minutes, more or less. And what I would like to talk about is Get Involved. So Get Involved is a new book that we have for teenagers. So it's our main target. And what I would like to focus on today is simply some sort of highlights that the book has. And of course, this is a book that we would like to present in collaboration with LanguageCert, because it has been mapped for the LanguageCert exam ESOL for Schools. And later on, Sylvia will be giving details about the exam. Now I'm going to focus on the characteristics of the book. So here you can have a sort of introduction, and the course is a 6-level course for teenagers. And there are these different highlights inside. So it's focused on collaborative projects, teen-tested videos. There are lots and lots of videos inside the book. Inclusive classroom, because there are different types of exercises that can be utilized in different ways. And we are going to have a look at that in a little bit of detail. Super skill development, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. And then a whole digital package with an app, a gamified on-the-go practice, and some extra digital materials that we think are really, really, really interesting. To talk about collaborative projects first, I would like to focus on the fact that these projects have been obviously tested. They guide the students step by step, and they let students work together. So the idea is having these projects, first of all, to cooperate and collaborate, but also obviously to consolidate all the skills and all the things that they have learned throughout the unit. The second part is teen-tested videos. So all the videos, again, they foster what I've been talking about. So super skills and all the other skills that are included in the series, because the main approach is natural acquisition of a language approach, and the videos are part of this process. And we have different types of videos. There are unit opener videos, real world speaking videos, and project videos. The project videos are quite interesting because they analyze a project step by step by giving practical examples done by teenagers. So it should be very appealing to our teenagers. About the inclusive classroom, there are several types of exercises, so activities for all levels, both in the student's book and the workbook, with 3 different levels of difficulty. So this is one of the elements that I wanted to list earlier. The brain teaser boxes and exercises are quite nice because they are sort of puzzles, teasers, crosswords. So little games that would like to, let's say, develop the skills that are more logical and a little bit more related to critical thinking as well. So those type of skills together with inclusivity. And then at the end, we have a final reflection task that allows every student to evaluate their own progress. So we also have a bit of self-directed learning. We are going towards that direction. Super skills development is something that focuses on the 4 skills of learning, plus, of course, critical thinking and also a little bit of gamification. But mainly we have the 4 skills of learning with creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. And this is an example of the exercises. Of course, I can then share the slides with you if you like having them for your information. Then the last part was the gamified on-the-go practice activities. And so there's a student app that can be utilized everywhere and anywhere by the students and by the teachers, and it works on smartphones, tablets, and computers. So it can be used as extra homework or independent material that can be utilized by the students themselves. Now, I would like just to introduce the fact that there are two options. One is blended, so there's the paper version with the codes inside that give access to the digital, or a fully digital solution. And for the teachers, we have the teacher's book with a code inside that allows you to have all the extra materials, even digitally. And among the extra materials, we have the classroom presentation kit with students' book and workbook with answers, the test generator, the teacher's resource center, the homework manager, and the progress tracker. Plus some final Kahoot exercises that they are 8 per level, so 8 quizzes per level. And they are already divided into units. So you don't have to look for these Kahoot in a separate way, but they are all connected to the academic approach. And they have been created to practice vocabulary. Very, very quickly, I would like to show you how the book is presented. So the unit opens up in this way. And the approach is natural acquisition of a language approach, and the scheme is always the same. We have vocabulary, the input skill, and then the grammar. After the 2 input skills, then we have the output skills with some extra support. There are already at the beginning, there's what do you think prompts that would like to develop critical thinking, and introduction videos already in the first 2 pages. When we go on talking about reading, so the reading is develops critical thinking as well. And we also have an exercise that is based on the super skills module. So it's based on the 4 C's of learning. And also, as Sylvia will explain a little bit in detail later, the book prepares for the language cert exam ESOL for school. And so we have a mapping that we created that is strictly connected to the pages of the book. So for example, in the example part, you have unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. So all the units with all the pages and the exercises that you can utilize. Then after the reading, we have the grammar, and the page dedicated to grammar is in context. So the approach is inductive, and then at the end of the book, there's the rule. The brain teaser is usually part of the grammar pages. So those logical games are present. And then there's the same pattern for the listening. So we've got listening and vocabulary on this page. And then later on, we'll have another part of grammar before moving on to the output skills. Again, there's the mapping for the listening as well. So for the ESOL for schools exam. As I said before, after the listening, we have the grammar page with some boxes about research and visible thinking routines, plus the output skills. So over here, we have the speaking. And for the speaking, we have authentic videos and a box over here that is always present that is called Skills Boost with Think, Prepare, Practice, and Perform. So the idea is to develop visible thinking routines as well. And as usual, we have the mapping for ESOL for schools, even for this skill. Finally, we've got 1.5 pages of writing. So the writing is obviously dedicated to a complete and a comprehensive study and approach and learning experience. We've got motivational texts and authentic tests that were made thanks to experts in those particular topics. And then we always have our skills boost part. At the end, there's a quick review after every unit that develops grammar and vocabulary, plus a link to the digital review, which is in the on-the-go practice app. And also the vocabulary can be utilized in an audio format, so you can also boost listening while speaking about vocabulary. As you can see, there's also the reference to the ESOL for Schools exam, and which will cover all the skills, so listening, reading, speaking and writing. So the final two pages of Get Involved are about the projects. So we've got digital competence and obviously collaboration and cooperation. There's always a box related to super skills, and usually it's creativity or collaboration, but it depends. And then at the end of the book, at the end of the unit, we've got a final reflection, which would like to empower self-assessment and a self-directed learning approach. So as you can see, thinking routines, critical thinking, and communication are the core of this particular book. So I finished. That was a very quick presentation, and if you have any other maybe questions or queries, or you would like to see any samples, this is my email. And thank you again, once again, LanguageCert, for this fantastic opportunity, but I'll be back at the end. So
Thank you, Romina, and you were spot on in your 10 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I was in time.
I know it wasn't easy, a lot of information, and for giving us an overview of the book. So now that we have that, we thank you for that. We'll move on to the core of the webinar. Sylvia will be giving you an overview of the exam very quickly, because a lot of you are familiar with it, others no. And then she'll get into the content of the mapping, which combines Macmillan with LanguageCert ESOL for Schools. So allow me to introduce my colleague, Silvia Caristati. Dr. Silvia Caristati is a teacher, educator, and lecturer with over 10 years of experience in higher education. She is the head of teacher support at LanguageCert, leading on resources and events to support the teachers community around LanguageCert certifications. She is also adjunct lecturer at the Ionian University, Greece, Department of Foreign Languages, Translations and Interpreting, where she coordinates the department's graduate teacher development program. And I know you do a lot more than that. So thank you, Sylvia. Over to you. You have the next 40 minutes, and we'll see all the others with a Q&A. So questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Giuseppe. It's great to be back working with Macmillan. It's a collaboration that we see each other in events, and it's great also to be working with them for these two particular books that we mapped for 2025. Last week we presented the work on LanguageCert Academic and Skillful, and this week we have the pleasure of talking about Get Involved. Let me share my screen. And welcome everyone, it's great to see you. So I will talk first about the exam. Let me get that right, yes. And then we will proceed with the mapping. So ESOL for Schools, I'm going to focus on A2 for this particular webinar, but the exam itself spans a lot more levels from A1 to B2. And the exam is for test takers, age-appropriate topics for them, because we're thinking about them being 11 to 16 years old, so within school age. And we're also thinking about these candidates, these test takers, and they're learning English as part of their school curriculum. They're also attending short courses, so it's part of a learning journey that they've embarked on. And what they want is that they want to demonstrate that they have achieved a particular level of language competence. Sometimes these moments are important moments within milestones of their progression. So let's look a little bit at the overview. As I said, it's an exam, ESOL for Schools, that is aligned with the CFR. It's available at levels from A1 to B2, and it's recognized and regulated by Ofqual. And it assesses all 4 language skills: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And what is important about that is that we do cater for the particular age. So it's a communicative exam with content appropriate for school age test takers. That means that you will not see work-related content or content around business and the work life. So it's more about the life of somebody that is at school. It doesn't mean that it's only school topics. It could be extracurricular. It could be, relationship with friends, free time, etc. But also learning within school contexts. The exams are 2 standalone exams. So you will do the written exam, which consists of the listening, reading, and writing. And then you will do another sitting or booking for the spoken exam. And then you will have these 2 separate certifications. And there are 2 formats available. It's a paper-based format, but it's also a computer-based format. And we're growing, our test networks, and so it's available year-round. And you can talk about the availability and the slottings and the bookings and all the operational issues with people handling the exam on your end. Giuseppe would be the one for Italy. Now, this is just a general overview, but today I'm going to talk about the work that we did to map, and these are the cover pages of the mappings, ESOL for Schools A2 to get involved A2, and also ESOL for Schools B2 to get involved B2. So these 2 are available, and because we thought that we wanted to cover more of the CFR spectrum. Today, however, my focus, for time reasons, the exams are not exactly the same. I'm going to focus on A2 because this is also the request from Italy in the meetings that we had. So this is the structure of the A2 exam, and you will see here some of the very, very basic information. So the listening is 4 parts, 4 task types with 26 questions. For our exams, the audio is played twice, as with most exams of that school level, and it's about 20 minutes. The reading and writing, there is a combined time there for 1 hour and 20 minutes. For the reading, you have 4 parts and again, 26 questions. And for the writing, 2 tasks. I will talk about all of these in detail in the next moments. For the spoken exam, this is an interview, one-to-one with an interlocutor. And it's about 9 minutes, and there are 4 tasks, so 4 different parts. Now, for the next few moments, what I will do is that I will take you through each skill separately, listening, reading, speaking, and writing. And then I will talk about the exam information, but also how you can use Macmillan's Get Involved A2 to teach for these particular task types. So let's start. And I will start with the listening exam. This is some information that we've already seen, but here they are just given in different format. So the question types is usually a multiple choice with 3 options, or fill out a short answer. Let's look at part 1. This is a task type where you need to listen to a sentence, and then you need to match these statements to pictures, numbers, spellings, maps, etc. So the goal here is to recognize key information in short statements. And so here you see an example from a practice paper, and you realize that this is the moment where we need to work with lexical items at the A2 level. And course books Get Involved, in particular, includes these kinds of lexical levels. So these are some activities, sample activities that I've selected here. Each unit of Get Involved, as Romina showed, includes a variety of lexical items, visuals as well, accompanied by listening tasks. And there is a variety also of lexical topics and contexts. So as ESOL for Schools A2 listening part 1 is designed to assess the candidate's ability to recognize simple key information and link this information with visual representations, these kinds of activities would be the ones that I would choose to work and practice. Obviously, we realize that course books are not testing environments. So there is a lot more there. They're listening, maybe there's a question, they're looking at 7 items, but this is the moment to match what we want, the sound with the image, and work with different lexical sets. Now, for listening part 2, here we have an emphasis on functional language. There is a lot of emphasis on functional language, everyday language, spoken English within the LanguageCert listening exams. It's a multiple choice. So they listen to an utterance and they need to choose the best reply. And they need to identify functions. Now, this is a moment that a number of course books, and it's not just Get Involved, we will need to adapt. The task type doesn't really naturally exist there. They're focusing on more detailed listening or other types of listening. This notion of a response is would be dealt with an adaptation. So what I'm showing you here is that within the mappings, when there weren't quite tasks that were equivalent, we've also suggested practice of how we can adapt. And here, as I was working with the book, I saw a lot of the work that we would do with the listening is done in the videos. And Romina talked about, the teen appropriate videos and all the work that has been done in this book on working with the videos. So this is the moment, this is what I would choose to work with this. Pausing the videos at different intervals, asking them to kind of guess an expected response, working with alternative responses for this specific context, and also maybe a section where they are recording different kinds of functional language. So this is a moment now where we're thinking cleverly. Yes, there are no videos in the exam, but the idea is that you're focusing on real world speaking. So you're using the videos from the speaking to work with functional language. Now, in listening part 3, here the focus is on conversations. They listen to 6 conversations, the task types, and then they need to identify through a multiple choice the topic, perhaps the purpose, the context. They need to identify a specific aspect of the conversation. This is a number of moments that you find. It's a common activity in course books also. You see here, there are a number of examples in Get Involved, and it includes sections that they can use to practice. So for example, in Unit 8, they practice listening to phone conversations and identifying certain aspects. And although we might not have multiple choice tasks, these tasks really do work for the text types because they hear two people talking, they identify the different, for example, the topic, etc. And so these are also important moments to focus on, conversational moments. Now, in listening part 4, this is where we have more of the message and the notepad moment. This is the moment where they need to hear a recording, perhaps, or a short message, and they need to extract information from a monologue. It's not a dialogue, it's not a message, it's not a conversation, it's not a conversation, sorry. It's something that is delivered as a message or an announcement. And usually it's related to, for example, maybe a upcoming school trip, or a holiday. So they have particular things that they need to identify. And you look at the example here, for example, they need to talk about the place, what drinks they bring, when it starts. So it's key information that they need to extract. We find this information, we find equivalent tasks in Get Involved. There are a number of moments in the book where they're using podcasts, they're listening to and they extract information, or they're looking at, they're listening to monologues, and then they need to work with note-taking. Here is an example of this task. So you listen, but you see there, because it's a course book, first time you listen for the general idea. And then activity 7 here, it says, listen again, and then you go in the complete notes. That's why, the course books belong in that, not in the testing moment, but in the preparation moment, in the long preparation journey that our test takers are on before they come to the exam. And also here you see another type of task where they're looking at understanding pictures and they're matching the order here of the pictures. This is again listening to a message and trying to identify key information. So although the task types might not be exactly similar, here's a more multimodal task, I felt that these are, we shouldn't be omitting these just because they're not the same. They are really helpful because they cater to the core need of listening to a monologue and extracting information. Okay, that was the reading. The listening. Now we'll move on to the reading. As I said, the reading is 4 parts, 26 items, and you have 2 task types: multiple choice with 3 options and multiple matching. And the combined duration for reading and writing, as I said, is 1 hour and 20 minutes. Let's look at reading part 1. There is a lot of information. I do want you to, I know that there is, I'm trying to kind of go through, and I want to give you as much information as I can. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. If you want some more information about a particular part or a task, I'm happy to answer later on. So in reading part 1, this is a moment where they are working very much on lexis. Organization, meaning some grammatical items as well, but also some lexical items within context. And what is important here is that they do not just see sentences, they see a genre, they see a text type. So maybe it's a message, or maybe it's part of a book, or so that's important. And that's why we talk about a communicative exam. It's not just sentences isolated, but they are part of a communicative exchange. So here they need to complete the question. So what does one do to prepare for this part? One works with the vocabulary syllabus. And at Get Involved A2, this is for each unit, there is a clear goal on the vocabulary syllabus. You see here all the units. And these are, as the exam is mapped to the CFR, this is also very closely related to the lexical syllabus that appears in the tests. And this is what is expected of an A2 learner. So they, because of the CFR, everything works in kind of that same paradigm. And for part 2 now, we have a different task type, which is a gapped text. So here you have a gap text, and then you have 7 choices, 7 options to complete the text correctly. And then, so there is one distractor. So you need to understand the structure of the text and work, for example, maybe with, what is the appropriate sentence completion for a sentence. And there are a number of things that are tested here. It could be collocation, it could be conjunctions, it could be adjective and preposition, it could be verb complementation, a number of things. So a lot of the grammar sections that appear in Get Involved are relevant for this. And one of the things that we need to understand is that communicative exams, such as LANGUAGECERT ESOL for Schools, will not test grammar directly on a sentence level, for example. So, but this is a moment where grammar is tested indirectly through this. Actually, not. It's tested through a text. And what I would suggest here, this is another adaptation, is to work that you will find in the mapping, an adaptation that you will find in the mapping, is to ask students to really work with missing sentences from text. So this requires some work on behalf of the teacher to adapt some of the tasks, but there are a lot of texts within the book that can be used for this purpose. removing some of the sentences in order to simulate that experience. And first of all, you ask them about the main topic, and then you work with the missing sentences. You also try to work with the gaps. What is before the gap, after the gap? How this has led you to the answer. So what I wanted to show is that although sometimes there might not be an exact task type, we've tried to create a classroom suggestion for adaptation. Now, in reading part 3, this is the moment where they need to look at multiple texts. It's a multiple matching task, and they need to identify information from the text. What you see here on your slide is an example from a task type. You see the 4 short texts, and again, the text type, the genre is clear. So it's a schedule, it's an email, it's a little note. It's not just random sentences in a non-communicative context. And they need to understand the purpose in the text, and they need to locate specific information. So here it's a reading more in detail, it's reading for specific information. When we come to prepare for this, we will see that these types of looking at different texts and identifying information is part of the reading tasks for the book, and reading and critical thinking moments. So here we have, they're reading 2 texts, and it's asking them to identify, okay, which one, where the information is, in which text does it relate to. Again, they're not in an exam situation, so, you know, working with 4 texts is not there, but you do have this sub-skill, reading multiple texts to identify and locate specific information there in the book. In reading part 4, this is reading of a longer text with a multiple choice question. Sorry, 7 multiple choice questions, not just 1. And again, it's about understanding specific information through detailed reading. You see the size of the text. Again, this is A2 level. Obviously, as you the texts get a bit longer and they get a bit more complex as you go up the levels of the CFR. But we still want the students at A2 level to be able to understand specific information from texts. Now, in course books, these kinds of reading activities are there. Oftentimes, and I know that as you know, that in test development we want multiple choice activities because there we can put in actually more items in the options. Usually in course books, they do the other way around. It's easier to write a kind of yes or no, true or false activity. But I would suggest that using these is a very, very good preparation moment for reading part 4. So it's not a multiple choice activity. This is a true or false. But still, it requires the same underlying principle of reading for detail and detailed understanding of the text. Okay. Let's move on with the writing exam. Again, if you have any questions on any of the task types or how you would approach a particular task type during preparation, please let me know. I will talk about the writing exam now and the 2 tasks. It's got 2 parts, and it's part of the reading exam, okay? So you need to monitor your time and you need to complete the reading and the writing within the allocated time. This is part of time management within the exam context. The 2 tasks are slightly different in register, in formality. So for the first one, you need to respond to an informal text. I'll show you the first one. This is it. You're given an email, a short message, and you need to respond to that, you know, via another email or a short letter into 30 to 50 words. So you are looking at an informal response. It's important to think about, you know, the short messages also. This is, you know, we might not be necessarily writing emails, you know, but we are writing lots of messages to friends with this kind of questions, suggestions, requests, etc. Get involved includes a lot of writing preparation, and it does include specific preparation for working with informal messages. This is from Unit 2, for example. And so it's not just formal writing, and this is something that's not easy to find in a book. So it's about everyday communication as well. So how do you write, a text message? How do you write like a short update, for example, a short email? You will see that it has the preparation stages from working with language samples, the models, then working with the language, thinking about formality, thinking about informality, working with sentences, sentence structures, and also then the prompt, the task, and the different kinds of reflection questions or around the super skills, as Romina said. So very useful chapters for preparation for Unit 2. Let's proceed with the writing part 2. This is now shifting the register to a more neutral or semi-formal text for the audience. What is important is that you're writing around 3 very specific items of content. So you have a purpose. Okay, you see here the task type, you want to study English and you write a letter to the director of a summer school. What you're going to write on is given to you, so you need to work your language around the writing prompts. And again, you have the intended audience, you have the purpose, and you have the content. A number of moments in Get Involved will help with this type of writing. Here you see an example from Unit 6 on working with an email. Again, the same thing that we expect from the book. We expect the model, we expect some activities around it, some kind of pre-writing activities, raising awareness about the different aspects, and then also the task at the end. But there are other types of writings apart from the email that you will be helpful. Description writings, instructions, a blog post. Again, these are helpful writings for this part. Okay, and I'm just coming to the end with speaking. Speaking has 4 parts, and the different task types relate to the different aspects and the different speaking skills. It's about communicating personal information. It's about social speaking. It's also about working to complete a simple task. And finally, it's doing a short presentation. The duration is 9 minutes, so you have time to showcase all of these different abilities, from more personal information to a more structured presentation at the end. Again, let's not forget this is A2 level, so we want to give them the opportunity to warm up, as we do in all our speaking exams. So in speaking part 1, this is a moment to help them ease into the process, and also to communicate personal information. It's a short part, and you have these topics that the interlocutor will be asking. It's one-to-one with a candidate, and they will be asking these personal information. So a number of books, they work with these topics that we see here. It could be, for example, free time or shopping or food and drink. Again, going back to this idea of the A2 lexical topics, these are the topics that will be expected. And here in Get Involved, we see exactly that we have various opportunities to practice accordingly in the different warm-up questions by covering various topics. For example, each unit starts with a vocabulary, and this includes a number of personalization questions that are very similar to the ones that we would be expected on the task types of the exam. So do you eat a snack? What food do you like? Okay, so there's another task here on the seasons. What is where you live? What's spring like? What's summer like? What's the weather today? So these are practice personalization questions that would be very helpful. Now, in speaking part 2, this is a moment that we don't often find books doing that very well. This is our role play model. Get Involved does, though. And that's a very, very impressive part of the book. We have our situational role plays. So this is about real life communication. It's about encouraging, practicing, not just the very formal matters of communication, but require everyday interactions, communicating appropriately in social situations. So here you see that they start a role play with interlocutor. They are given the interlocutor is given the beginning, is giving a situation. So we're on the bus and I almost hit you with my bag, and they start, the interlocutor starts saying, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. So how do you then respond in that situation? You don't have to become somebody else, okay? You respond as yourself, but you get into the scenario. And now this book does this really well. It's got these sections in each unit that practices real life speaking on a number of topics. Apologies, that's the one that we saw in the test, but also asking for information, shopping, making arrangements, making or responding to suggestions, asking questions, interest, opinions, etc. What you see here is an example from Unit 8, making arrangements, and it's great, again, as we do with my learning materials, they look at the model of the language, they look at the video, and then they explore the model of the language. So what is the functional language of making suggestions? They look at the different exchanges. So this exchange here could be a very good, I don't want to say perfect, but it could be a very good model for an exam exchange. And they're working with these real world speaking moments. So plenty of materials there in every unit to practice this important skill. In reading part 3, it's more about working with visuals. It's about exchanging information. It's about looking at pictures of familiar situations and then talking about the pictures and exchanging information. So the two pictures will be different. And this is a moment to really elicit and extract key vocabulary that is found at A2 level. For example, here you see the room, so you might, the vocabulary that needs to be elicited, it's maybe the window is open, is closed, about what is the boy doing on the bed, are they sitting, are they reading, activities, furniture types, people. So these task type that elicits these lexical items, it's not easy to find in course books, okay? But what I would do and what I suggest is actually working with pictures to prompt language production. And there are pictures at the beginning of each unit. They can use these to prompt students talking on the occasion of an image. Obviously, creating these, images is more of a test task type, not so much a. But remember, behind these images in the test, it's the lexical items of the A2 level. So this is important to remember. Okay, we're almost done, and we're looking at part 4 at speaking, and this is our mini presentation. They're given a topic, they have a little bit of time to prepare, and then they are doing their mini presentation, and then they are asking follow-up questions. Okay, so that they need to speak for a minute. But again, for a learner at A2 level, this is a big moment. So you see the topics here. Again, this comes from the A2 syllabus. It could be your home, it could be school life, it could be staying healthy. That's why I'm saying the topics come from the world of this particular age group. It's not going to be about your work environment. It's not going to be about the office. And then they answer different follow-up questions. Now, again, in Macmillan Get Involved, in the project moment, at the end, the projects always include a small presentation moment. Obviously, this is part of a larger project work. So they would look at the video, then they would do some research, they would plan, they would create, but at the end, they always present something. So this is the moment where you're honing the different presentation skills of students that then they come to the exam to showcase on very, very familiar topics. Okay, what they're doing here is a lot more complex. Okay, they're making a video about the weather of their country. It's a lot more complex. And we see here the different other, how do you create a spotter presentation? How do you create a digital presentation? I really liked all these presentation skills that are involved here as a teacher myself. I would really love teaching that part of the book, actually. Okay, so we have spent quite a bit of time together, and thank you for your patience. I'm coming to the end, and I'm here to also talk a little bit about the different types of resources that we have for you to prepare for everything you need for Language Cert exams and Language Cert ESOL. In our website, the official source for all your needs, you will find all the free preparation materials, practice papers. We have uploaded 2 new practice papers for ESOL for Schools exams for all levels. And you will see here our recommended also materials and any teacher manuals that we have for writing or for speaking. We will be updating these in the coming months with more tips. We're preparing new things for ESOL for Schools to support the product. As always, we have webinars. Tomorrow, we have a webinar on ESOL for Schools, thinking about preparation. And we will be able to go there thinking about how do you prepare for these kinds of task types. Materially dependent, but it's kind of tips and techniques. In our YouTube channel as well, you will see a number of webinars and a number of videos around the tests, and also a number of the activities that we do with teachers and our trainers. So please, if you haven't gone to our YouTube, go there. And this is where Giuseppe comes on. Thank you,
yes,
Giuseppe. That
Sylvia,
was it
first of
from
all,
me.
yeah, you must have felt a bit lonely for this moment that you had to do your presentation. You can't see people. So thank you so much for the insight and the information on ESOL for Schools with Get Involved. I'd like just, before we go on, please do, if you have questions, this is the moment, because we're coming to the end as promised within an hour. We'll do this. Do have your questions. I saw that someone already had a question over there, and Romina's already intervened. So thank you for that. Well, look, the whole idea, Sylvia, as you mentioned, is building the teachers' community, and you're doing a fantastic job from the headquarters. Teachers' voices, the teachers that come out with what their experience is. So please do take part of this community. It's a very young, dynamic, evolving community. And what Sylvia just shared about ESOL for School, Sylvia knows this. I totally embrace that. It's a great exam targeted for those students who actually, if you think about it, need to have an experience of an assessment that gives them the holistic experience, that gives them that, be in control of their, for example, the speaking part, Sylvia, that you just shared. I think that's just one of the highlights of our exam. So being at the center, the candidate is at the center. He's protected in a safe place and can talk about the topics as about his world, not about my world, because I'm not there anymore. So Sylvia, what else is there to say? I guess we've come to the conclusion here. Is there another slide that we need to share? Yeah, the question
This is
and
our
answers.
contact.
Yeah. So our
Information.
contacts, yeah. Yeah, the contacts academic support at LanguageCert for the teachers, I think is very important. Sylvia also is obviously at your support. You actually, as a country manager, at your total disposal for everything you need. You can contact, I know that there are other countries connected to this webinar. I saw Pakistan, I saw Indian. You've got the people for respective geographical areas responsible there, so you can contact them. We are present basically worldwide. So feel free to contact us. You'll find all the information on the website. Website actually, Sylvia has a lot of information also with other, books and tips. And you just mentioned the YouTube video, which I think has got, YouTube channel has got lots of stuff for there. And I know, as you mentioned, I'd like to highlight that you guys are working on developing more and more for ESOL for Schools, and I think that's very, very important. Now, let's see. There's a question here from Gregorio. Hi, Gregorio, from the north of Italy. The computer-based format for ESOL for School can be done in proctoring mode, or has it to be supervised in class? A very good question. We don't take that for granted. The ESOL for School is an exam that's done in presence. So fundamentally, at your school or at your private language school, paper-based or computer-based. So if you're thinking for the online proctoring live invigilation exam, no, it's ESOL for that. And I think there's a reason behind this. If you think about students in the state school system, for example, here in Italy, I think it's a class experience. It's a school experience. Therefore, the test center, the local test center, you are one of them, can go and offer that service in the school. And the schools can register to become an academic partner, and that's where I come in. So please feel free to contact me. It's exciting because I believe strongly that this is exam ESOL for School can help a lot of students empower their skills in the language, because this is what it's all about. So if students finish the middle school with an A2, why not? I'm talking about 13-year-olds. Why not be ambitious and try to go for B1? We have the possibility for doing that. It is an exam that includes a lot of soft skills also, Sylvia. No, it's not just about the language, it's also communication skills. And I think that's another great thing. Gregorio, thank you. I think I replied, but you can always reach out anytime. Any other questions that you have? Because we are approaching the end. Let me just check that lovely Q&A box. There's nothing there. Romina, hi. Do you have anything else you want to add before we come to the
Hello.
conclusion?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, first of all, because it was really informative and it's always a pleasure as usual. So I just would like to add this, that I've added my email address as well. So in the chat box. So if you need to contact me about the book, so about the series Get Involved, we have several editions depending on the countries where the book is promoted. So if you can't find that particular edition that you're looking for, don't worry, you can contact me. I will put you in touch with the colleagues in the different countries, and they will help you find the right edition. But the content is still the same. It's just a matter of different covers and different countries.
Yeah. Perfect. So that's the answer basically also for Spain. Thank you very much. Now, concluding, because we are, somebody would like to ask a question, because we're not going to let you go like that. You know, we want to finish on time, not in time. No, Sylvia, we are on time. So there's still if you want to ask a question, but I think we covered everything. I really, really thank you all for participating. Thanks, Sylvia, because that was a lot of information that you had to go through. So Romina, for giving us an overview of the book. You have the details. I've also put my email in the chat for those who want to contact me for Italy. So pop-up will come up as soon as you disconnect for the survey. Please do that. This is important. You will be getting an email with in a couple of days with your attendance certificate and the mapping. That Sylvia worked really hard on that. So, and also the recording. So I don't know what else we can give you. I mean, that's it. I think we can close it here and say thank you all. Thanks from Ancona. Oh, Caroline, hi from Ancona. Yes.
I think, Giuseppe, there's a last minute question about, do you also offer C1 exams?
Oh, thank you, Romina. I didn't see that. Thank you. Do we offer C1 exams? Of course we do. Not ESOL for schools, C1, but we do. So if you think about it, a C1, talking about Italy, we're talking about the levels have increased a lot in Italy, but let's say that when you are around about 16, 17, those ones have started the right age learning a language, they move on to an ESOL exam. There's no need to go for schools, so already out of that range. And there are excellent exams. I mean, we've been running them for years now. So absolutely, you've got C1, C2, but we also have a pre-A1, which is for the little middle school students, the 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. So we have the Fox and Owl, and that's another great exam. So we go from the 7-year-olds right up to graduate university students, access to university with our language academic, with ESOL. So we got a lot of opportunities. The website will give you more information, but today it was focused on ESOL for schools. and obviously Romina, the B2 also. So keep an eye on that. Any questions? No? Romina, you've been assisting me there. That's very good. Thank you. I have a 13-year-old C1 kid. There you go. There you go. I mean, I've seen these examples of brilliant students in Spain, in Italy, India, 12, 13-year-olds and getting to C1. I mean, that's where we should be going. It's about getting more students to that level. So well done to you for that. So it's now 4 o'clock in Italy. I'm not going to say what time it's in India because it must be very later. I'm going to say thank you to you all. Thank you to the back office, the people who are supporting us with this webinar, Iris, Christina, marketing team, and you, Romina, from Macmillan, Casimir, and Erica for supporting us. And we'll look forward to the next edition. So, and Sylvia, what can I say? See you in Florence soon. And we'll be at the Dacta for those who want to come to visit us. We'll be at the Dacta Florence next month. And thank you all. Thank you so much for the participation. And have a lovely rest of the evening. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.